Hi, I'm Steve Knapp, Executive Director of Media at Cull McVoy, and I'm here today to share with you my experiences and key themes from South by Southwest 2019. The first one seems pretty simple and kind of obvious, but it's called Know Your Audience. Across multiple keynotes, panels, and events, there was an overarching theme that successful business leaders and entrepreneurs start with really understanding what their customer wants versus only focusing on what the brand is selling. More often than not, data is now the key to unlocking these beliefs and behaviors to help brands provide real value to ultimately drive action. It was amazing to hear the founders of agency Giant Spoon talk about the complexity that went into doing not only last year's HBO Westworld exhibit and this year's Game of Thrones, but how every single detail was fueled by data to make sure they get that brand experience right so people walk away with something to remember, share, and talk about. Another example of knowing your audience was the influx of 2020 Democratic presidential candidates at this year's South by. The festival's progressive views and scale of influence made this an opportunity for candidates like AOC, Amy Klobuchar, and others to share their vision at speaking engagements or at CNN's Town Hall presidential broadcast. Last, Vice delivered an activation that embodied their brand and audience, complete with pop-up roller skating rink, and guests could take a spin through the famed Viceland bus. It was so on brand. Second key theme was something I call everything that's new is old. At the Fast Company Grill, executives from pioneering direct-to-consumer brands like Bonobos and Shopify spoke about their shift from influencer marketing, social and digital media to more traditional approaches like brand advertising and mass channels such as TV to help expand awareness and ultimately drive sales. Further, podcasting was all the buzz this year, with some industry leaders calling podcasting the second golden age of audio. Like the DTC brands I just mentioned, established podcasting brands like Gimlet and Anchor are looking at the recent acquisition by Spotify as a way to help them drive growth primarily through advertising revenue and greater awareness. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The next key theme I found out was something called the collaboration economy. One of the keynotes that I saw that was very inspiring was from hip-hop star A$AP Rocky, talking about his growing partnership and the credibility and influence that he brings to help redefine luxury for automotive brand Mercedes-Benz. In fact, their chief design officer, Gordon Warner, said, "Luxury is always changing, and we needed Rocky to make it relevant for us." What collaborations can do really evolve around being authentic to the brand first, using influencers to really help innovate, change, and drive influence to ultimately deliver what every brand wants, and that's new audience and revenue growth. The next big theme I wanted to talk about is something as simple as your home is smarter than you think. You saw pop-up activations for Google Home that were simply about, even in a very tech-forward world of South by Southwest, ways for you to just get started on having a connected home, things that are very simple, to electronics manufacturer LG talking about smart bots and their care bots being able to eventually recognize facial expressions and especially your eyes to help care for you in the future. Which led to one of the most mind-blowing experiences I had at this year's South by Southwest, was to hear futurist Amy Webb talk about the connected home and themes of privacy really being dead and the rise of biometrics. And this really led to something that I'm calling your home is way smarter than you think. What Amy talked about is using data-driven scenarios to play out what the future is like for this ultra-smart connected home. And she did it in three simple ways. One, an optimistic framing that has a very positive look at the future. So in this case, she said, we intermingle with Google, Amazon, and Apple. These smart connected homes help us save time and energy. It's the end of passwords, the end of car keys, and smart homes are safe and fun. From a neutral framing, something that's very status quo is, yep, we continue down this path of a smarter connected home without really major changes. We soon realize we can't change everything. It's difficult, it's hard, it's expensive, and we go frustrated, which stables that growth. And last, but certainly not least, is a catastrophic framing, but actually a world where we live in Google, Apple, or Amazon homes, and so does your data live within those three companies. And basically, what was really eye-opening is that this smart home may actually make decisions for you and decisions that you wouldn't make. And while you can unplug that smart microwave, you can't unplug yourself from the system because the system is everywhere, both in your home and eventually outside of your home. What the outcome of a smart home may be in the next 10 years, it was pretty mind-blowing, in that there is a 0% probability of an optimistic framing, a 30% probability of a neutral framing, and a 70% probability of a catastrophic framing. Really made me rethink what that Google smart home and those LG robots were doing as I walked out of that convention center. And last but not least, in this world of technology and data, another key theme, and it's my final one, is that people matter, not just technology. As I can try to do my best Matthew McConaughey impression, he's just simply said, the signal to noise ratio is out of whack. And what he means by that, and what Matthew McConaughey, Bozoma St. John, and even NBA players like Chris Bosh and executives from the San Antonio Spurs and the Orlando Magic said, is that it's really important, even in this world of technology, connected devices, smartphones, gaming all the time, is not to lose sight of being able to interact with people. It's important to get to know who they are, what they did on their weekend, the importance in NBA fashion of being able to balance that time that players play Fortnite, but to make sure you have times for team dinners, to go to their family's birthday parties, and the importance this makes not only in their teams, but in life in general. So that's what inspired me at this year's South by Southwest. I hope it inspired you too, and if you want to dive a little bit deeper and you can't wait for South by Southwest 2020, make sure you go to the South by Southwest YouTube channel and really dive deep into all the videos of the keynotes, the panels, and other speakers that are there to really be inspired and learn more. Thanks very much.